So we have successfully implemented the authentication flow, but there's a problem in our app component inside this function. Can you tell? Our app component knows a bit too much about authentication. It knows that it has to extract a token from the storage and then decode it to set the current user. These details don't really belong here. Our app component should be like a manager who delegates work to others. So I'm going to extract this logic from here and move it into our auth module. The details of getting a token and decoding it really belong to the auth module, okay? So here in the auth folder, let's go to storage.js. So here's our get token function. We shouldn't really export this function from this module because other modules using this function then have to be responsible for decoding a token. So down below, let's remove get token. Good. Now we're going to create a new function. Let's call that get user. This function calls get token. We await the call to get the token. Now let's make this async. So if we have a token, then we're going to decode it. So on the top, let's import JWT decode from JWT-decode. Now let's go to get user. So over here, if we have a token, then we're going to decode it and return the result. Otherwise, we're going to return null. Or we can combine these two statements and make our code cleaner. So return. If we have a token, we're going to decode it and return it. Otherwise, we're going to return null. That's better. So this is the function that we should export from this module. So down below, get user. Now back to the app module. So here we're going to call get user. We get a user object. So let's rename this to user. Always pay great attention to the name of your variables. So we get a user. Now, if the user exists, then we're going to set the current user. We don't need this line, so delete. Now let's also rename this function to restore user, because that's what this function is really doing, right? So save the changes. Now on the top, look, we no longer need the effect hook because now we're using the app loading component. Also, we don't need to import the JWT decode function either. Again, the logic of decoding a token doesn't really belong here. It's too detailed for the app component, okay? So good. Now let's test our app one more time. Okay, here's our app. Let's reload it. I'm still logged in, good. Now I'm going to log out and log back in. And reload one more time. Perfect.